This is a response video to Cimbolic in your recent video there, Cimbolic, about values. This thing is response. It may just be a riff on the same theme. But what I took from that, one of the things I took from that really nice video of yours there, mate, was the relationship between value and biology, or value and evolution. Because it's something else I thought about. I always get myself into a tangle with it, because I think when you try to look to evolution or look to biology for the source of values, it always gets a bit problematic, doesn't it, really? I mean, it often turns into a kind of naturalistic fallacy, you know, where you try to draw kind of moral lessons from the behaviour of the natural world and saying, you know, the way things are is the way they ought to be. The is-ought problem just kind of comes up a lot in that set of ideas. But what you were saying kind of hinted at that relationship between, as I say, evolutionary development and the kind of natural criteria that evolution provides for survival ultimately, but also for the sort of sub-objectives, the minor objectives that ultimately lead to survival, things like mate choice or things like access to resources or all the rest of the behaviours, does seem to provide a kind of natural set of criteria for, as I say, those ultimate survival aims and the sub-goals which lead to those aims, which could be interpreted as values. But as I think I've already said, the problem with that is that, well, twofold. First, you're taking an is from an ought, or an ought from an is, whatever it is, and secondly, you're also cherry picking. Not you, obviously. One is cherry picking values, because what I've, on the occasions that I've read about values, particularly things like moral values, but other kinds of values as well, being drawn from evolution and from biology, there's an enormous amount of cherry picking going on. So people tend to pick on things like altruism and empathy in the natural world, because these are, because these exist in the natural world, because there seems to be some kind of biological or evolutionary explanation for qualities like empathy and altruism. That seems to be presenting the case that evolutionary biology provides a template for moral values. But it's enormously cherry-picked, even worse than biblical cherry-picking in my view, because of course the natural world provides examples of horrific value judgments and horrific sets of practices which most people would consider immoral. So it does require a different kind of process. But what I do think is the potential relationship between evolutionary biology, or maybe it's psychology, but certainly evolution and value, is that whilst I don't think we can look to evolutionary biology for the content of values, I do think we can look to that for the idea of values. And just see if I can explain what I mean by that. As I said a few minutes ago, there is a set of criteria that natural selection provides, which guides ultimately the evolution of various species. But even on a smaller scale, there's a set of criteria that the natural world provides, which just allows an individual organism to survive. Some experiences are more valuable than others, and that they profit the continuation of that particular organism. And even some, very, very small, momentary, fragmentary experiences are completely value-laden, or criteria-laden at least, in terms of their positive and negative aspects. This is something Antonio Damasio talks about in terms of psychological formations and consciousness formations, that each experience we have, every little sensory engagement that we make in all of our sensory apparatus, is always laden with positive and negative, as I say, valencies, what he calls somatic tags. And I say those are completely guided around biology, and those are entirely mapped onto and in lockstep with the demands of a being, of a living entity, and completely realised through the sensory motor system of that entity. But the fact is that we're not just sensory motor systems. We're not just alimentary canals on legs. We do have this weird consciousness thing. We do have this re-entry loop where we seem to be able to to reevaluate our experiences, almost stripped of their content. You know, we can kind of generalize experiences and strip them of their specific content and turn them into ideas. And I think one of the things we do that with is something like value, because we don't just respond positively and negative to our environments. We also have the capacity to assign positive and negative values to things, kind of artificially, really. We have an understanding of what value is, even without it being applied. You know, we know what value is. I've got the idea of what value is in my head now, even though I'm not actually valuing anything. I'm not actually responding positively or negative to anything. So I've got the idea of value. So I think in terms of setting human values, and in terms of the relationship between those human values. Oh, by the way, I'm using the term human values from the Sam Harris presentation he did a while back. He's kind of talking about morality, but he used the term human values, which I think is an important distinction. But when we set those, I think what we're doing is we seem to be mobilizing a faculty which undoubtedly has been developed through biology and through evolution. You know, the faculty to make discriminatory evaluations of experiences, not only respond to those automatically with the sensory motor system, but also to abstract the very idea of value and then assign it to, as I said, artificially to other entities, so that we can make an artificial choice that certain things are valuable. And I think we do that all the time when we're making laws and when we're making any kinds of formulations to do with how to treat people or just how to deal with situations which are new and unusual. That seems to be the faculty that we're mobilizing. We seem to be, as I say, using the abstract quality of value that's derived from other kind of concrete experiences and activities of the sensory motor system. Yeah, I mean, the only last thing to say on that is that it seems to me that when we do that, when we use this abstract quality of value that we have and assign values to experiences or to entities or to people or to behaviours or whatever it may be, we use the same maps that are derived from the biological understandings of value. Actually, that's a different video, I think. I think I'll save that for another video because it'll take me a while to just think through what I'm talking about there. But yeah, great video. Thanks for that, Cimbolic. And yeah, it's a good topic, I think, value. I'd like to come back to that.